Where did all of this even come from? The ground beneath your feet, the stars you stare at every night. Where did the universe take its very first breath? If we crack open a science textbook right now, we're going to read about the Big Bang. If we go the religious route, we'll hear about a creator. But today I want you to forget everything you think you know. I'm taking you down a third path. It's an answer the ancient Greeks used to whisper, and honestly, it plays out like a binge-worthy TV drama. Get ready, because their version of the beginning of everything is an epic filled with family betrayals, inevitable prophecies, and creatures that defy all logic. Picture this. On one side, colossal beings with 50 heads and 100 arms. On the other, giants with a single eye right in the middle of their foreheads. And at the center of it all, a bloody war that didn't just last a few days. It went on for 10 whole years, tearing the very fabric of the cosmos apart. It might sound like over-the-top fantasy, but have you ever felt like life is just total chaos, and you're just trying to figure out how the pieces fit? Well, that's exactly why these myths were created. They weren't just bedtime stories. They were humanity's way of making sense of the mess, explaining things they couldn't understand, like a lightning bolt striking from the sky or the way the tides pull. And the craziest part? This whole story didn't start with light or peace. It started with a deep, dark void that held a secret. The Greeks were what we call polytheists. Don't let the big word trip you up. It just means they believed in a bunch of gods at the same time. It's like the universe was one giant corporation, and every god had a specific job. One handled the oceans, another the harvest. One was in charge of wisdom, and so on. Most people think Greek mythology is just a collection of stories about gods bickering, but the truth is way weirder. It starts with a pretty terrifying idea. The world wasn't born ready to go, beautiful and organized. It was born from a void that no one could control. And the most controversial part, for the Greeks, order doesn't just happen because someone is nice. It happens because someone has the guts to stand up to an ancient power that's suffocating everything. Sound like an exaggeration? Check this out. The beginning of the world in this view is literally a cycle of family drama, trying to outrun fate and ending up trapped by their own fear. What makes it so addictive is that it's not just about gods. It's about the logic of power. The more someone tries to control everything, the more the world starts to crack from the inside out. And in the middle of all this mess, we get these forces that seem simple but explain everything. Desire, night, the abyss, the earth, which leads to the question that changes how you see the whole story. What if chaos wasn't the problem, but the inevitable starting point? Because when the earth shows up, she doesn't bring peace, she brings consequences. And when the sky arrives to join her, it looks beautiful, until it becomes a prison. In the beginning, there was no sky, no ground, no world as we know it. Greek mythology says there was only chaos, a kind of primordial void without shape or order. But hey, don't think of chaos as just a messy room or a noisy street. It's way deeper than that. Think of it like this. You know when you open a brand new file on your computer or a blank canvas to draw? In moment, there's nothing there. But at the same time, anything can be born from that screen. That was chaos, a massive emptiness, the raw material that held the potential for everything that would ever exist. Suddenly, out of this chaos, the first forces began to emerge, the pillars of the universe. The first to appear was Gaia, Mother Earth. But she wasn't just land. She was the personification of solid ground and safety. Right around the same time, other fundamental forces showed up. Tartarus, representing the darkest, deepest abyss of the world. Nyx, the personification of deep night. And Eros. Quick side note. Most people know Eros as that Cupid guy shooting love arrows, but at the start of it all, he was way more powerful. He was the force of connection, the desire that makes things pull together to create something new. Without Eros, the universe would just be a bunch of loose pieces that never touched. The stage was set, but it was still kind of static. Gaia was there, solid and strong, but the horizon was missing something. Driven by a need to expand, Gaia decided to take a step that would change the history of the cosmos forever. Little did she know, once the Earth was no longer alone, what was supposed to be a perfect union would quickly turn into a nightmare. With Gaia now existing as the Earth, she doesn't just stay as the backdrop, she starts creating. On her own, she gives birth to Uranus, the personification of the heavens. Picture Uranus as this starry blue cloak wrapping around the earth from every side. At first, it seemed like the perfect match, sky and earth locked in an eternal embrace. From this union, the family grew fast. First came the 12 Titans, massive entities, each with their own unique power. But nature didn't stop there. Next came the Cyclopes, huge giants with one eye in the middle of their foreheads and brute strength that was almost impossible to contain. Then came the Hecatonchires, creatures with 100 hands and 50 heads. They were pure, raw, natural force. But this is where things get dark. When Uranus saw all this power growing inside his own house, he reacted in the worst way possible. His fear was simple and cruel. He believed that one day his own children would overthrow him. And what does a controlling father do when he's scared? He makes a heartless decision. Uranus simply refused to let his children be born. He pushed them back into the depths, back into Gaia's womb, meaning deep inside the earth, into Tartarus. Now try to put yourself in Gaia's shoes. Imagine the physical and emotional pain of having your own children trapped inside you, never able to see the light, just because their father is afraid of losing power. The love she felt for Uranus began to turn into a cold, calculated hatred. Gaia was suffering, so she started planning her revenge, a way to free her children and teach Uranus a lesson. Gaia couldn't take it anymore. The pain of carrying her imprisoned children was too much. In the silence of her depths, she forged a terrifying weapon, a diamond sickle. She gathered the Titans and begged them for help to take down Uranus, because on her own, the sky seemed impossible to beat. But the Titans all hesitated. They were terrified of their father. Only one stepped up, Cronus, the youngest and the most ambitious. He didn't take the job out of love for his mother or pity for his siblings. Cronus did it because he was hungry for power. He wanted the throne. The plan went down at night. When Uranus came down to lie with Gaia, wrapping the earth in his cloak, he was caught completely off guard. Cronus, hiding in the shadows, attacked his own father with the sickle. He castrated Uranus, forever separating the sky from the earth. But mythology never gives you an act of violence without some magical fallout. As the remains of Uranus fell into the sea and his blood hit the earth, incredible things started happening. From this cosmic side effect, the Furies and the giants were born, and in some fascinating versions, even Aphrodite, the goddess of love, was born from the foam created by this violent event. It's the perfect contrast: beauty born from pain and war. Uranus, defeated and humiliated, retreated to the heights and never came back down. But before he left, he placed a curse on Cronus. He foretold that Cronus would also be overthrown by one of his own children, repeating the same cycle of fear and betrayal. Cronus was now the master of the universe. He had the power, the throne, and his freedom, but he also had a seed of paranoia planted in his heart. He heard the prophecy, and what he decided to do to escape it was way worse than anything Uranus ever tried. After toppling Uranus, Cronus takes the lead and rules like he's conquered fate. Cronus marries Rhea, and their union starts a new generation. But that prophecy from Uranus keeps echoing in his head. Every time he looks at one of his babies, he doesn't see a child, he sees a future threat. So Cronus goes to an extreme. Every time a child was born, Rhea would bring them to him, and Cronus would simply swallow them whole. One by one. First Hestia, then Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. It doesn't kill them, they're immortal, but it keeps them trapped inside him. Rhea is forced to watch this happen over and over, powerless to stop it. By the time she realizes she's pregnant for the 6th time, she's reached her breaking point. She wasn't going to let him have this baby. Rhea was ready to take Cronus down. Rhea was desperate, so she did what anyone in trouble would do. She asked for advice from the experts in secrets, her mother Gaia and her father Uranus. Their solution? Hide the 6th child and trick the devourer. When the baby was born, Rhea took him to the island of Crete and hid him in the back of a dark cave, surrounded by thick forests. The baby's name? Zeus. Now for the hard part, fooling Cronus. Rhea took a large stone about the size of a newborn and carefully wrapped it in baby blankets. She went to Cronus with tears in her eyes and handed him the package. Cronus, blinded by his own arrogance and his rush to eliminate the threat, didn't even look at the child's face. He just opened his mouth and swallowed the rock in one go, thinking he just secured his spot as eternal king. Meanwhile, Zeus was growing up in secret. He wasn't just getting bigger, he was being trained, gaining strength, awareness, and a sense of purpose. He wasn't just a hidden child, he was a weapon in the making. But just surviving in hiding wasn't enough. Zeus knew that staying alive doesn't solve anything when the world is under a tyrant's thumb. He had to go back and do the impossible, face his father and bring back those who had been erased. When Zeus reaches adulthood, he doesn't just charge in recklessly, he understands the scale of the problem. He starts with a strategy. He needs to recover what was stolen before the war even begins. He tricks Cronus into drinking a potion that forces him to vomit up everything he'd swallowed. Out of Cronus come his siblings, fully grown and alive: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Zeus knows he can't win alone, so his first real victory is building a true alliance. But even with his siblings, they still need raw power to face a Titan empire. So Zeus makes a smart move. He goes down to Tartarus and frees the Cyclopes. To say thanks, the Cyclopes forge the ultimate gifts. For Zeus, they create thunder and lightning, the weapons that would become his signature. For Poseidon, they forge the trident. For Hades, a helm that makes him invisible. Now the playing field was level. On one side, the old guard, the Titans, sitting on Mount Olympus. On the other, the young gods, the Olympians, led by Zeus. Diplomacy was over, but winning didn't mean killing, it meant containing. This wasn't just a family feud, it was a battle for who would control the fate of the universe forever. With Zeus armed and his allies by his side, the conflict finally explodes. On one side is Zeus and the new generation, based on Mount Olympus. On the other, Cronus and the Titans on Mount Olympus. This wasn't some quick skirmish. The Titanomachy lasted 10 years. Both sides had insane power, and since no one can actually die, every victory had to be a prison. In the middle of this, a massive new threat emerges: Typhon, a monster of total destruction. It's like the myth is saying that when power fights over the throne, it leaves the door open for something even worse. Zeus has to deal with him without losing focus, because if he falls, there's no one left to hold the world together. That's when he plays his final card. Zeus frees the Hecatoncheires, the 100-handed giants. They enter the war like an unstoppable force, tipping the scales for good. With this advantage, Zeus and his allies finally crush Cronus and the Titans. The result isn't execution. The defeated Titans are cast down and locked in Tartarus, sealed away so they can never return to power. But here's the part people rarely think about. What happens to the world once the old world falls? After 10 years of chaos and fire, silence finally returned. But the world was a different place. To make sure the same greed that destroyed their father didn't corrupt them, Zeus and his brothers decided to split the world up fairly. Zeus, the master strategist, took the skies, becoming the king of the gods. Poseidon was given the seas and all the waters. And for Hades, the more reserved brother, the underworld, the realm of the dead and the hidden riches beneath the earth. And that is how, according to Greek mythology, the house of the universe finally stood tall. These stories weren't just entertainment, they gave the people of that time a sense of meaning. When they saw a lightning bolt, they saw Zeus's authority. When they saw a storm at sea, they felt Poseidon's mood. It's fascinating that even though we use science today to explain the Big Bang or plate tectonics, the core questions are still the same. Where did we come from? And why is the world so intense? There are thousands of versions of this beginning. You'll find incredible stories from the Egyptians, the Norse, and so many other cultures. At the end of the day, these narratives tell us a lot more about ourselves and our eternal need to find order in the middle of the mess. I want to hear from you. Which mythology should we explore next? We could dive into the mysteries of ancient Egypt, the bloody battles of the Norse in Valhalla, or maybe the legends of Japan. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with our next mythology videos.